Imagine, if you will, growing up in a sprawling, highly advanced galactic civilization. You go to school, you learn about the stars, the complex history of the cosmos.
Right, standard curriculum.
Yeah, exactly. But from the very first day, you are taught one absolute, undeniable fact, and that is that humanity, your species, our species, are terrifying monsters.
Which is such a wild concept to instill in a kid.
It really is, but here's the catch. You aren't taught that humans are cruel. You aren't taught that they are evil or greedy or that they conquer planets.
You're just taught to fear them on, like, a purely instinctual level.
Yes. And if you ever raise your hand in class and ask your teacher, wait, why exactly are we supposed to be terrified of humans? Your teacher's face goes pale, and they give you the exact same answer everyone has given for 10,000 years.
Some secrets are better left buried.
Exactly. It's so ominous. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. Today we are unpacking a truly incredible piece of science fiction narrative from the source text, The Indomitable Architects of Survival.
It is the ultimate historical paradox, honestly. You have an entire galaxy conditioned to fear a single species, yet they're suffering from this sort of enforced collective amnesia about the actual historical events.
The psychological toll of that kind of societal cognitive dissonance must be immense.
Oh, absolutely.
So our mission today is to dig into this buried history. We are exploring the hidden reality of humanity as the saviors of the galaxy and unpacking the profound, almost chilling realization of why humans are truly feared in this universe.
It's a fascinating journey.
Okay, let's unpack this. Picture the scene. It has been 10,000 years since whatever caused this amnesia occurred. The archives are strictly forbidden. Entire star systems have been wiped off the map, marked classified, and barricaded with military blockades.
Nobody goes there. Nobody asks questions.
Right. But history shows that when you tell intelligent beings not to look behind a curtain, someone is eventually going to pull it back.
And in this narrative, that individual is Professor Zeran. He is an alien archaeologist working in the Orion sector.
Who just can't let things go, right?
Exactly. What the source text emphasizes about Zeran is his psychological profile, while the rest of the galactic academic community is perfectly content to leave human history alone.
Because it's filled with these terrifying missing centuries.
Right, and erase battlefields. But Zeran possesses a pathological refusal to let sleeping dogs lie. His obsession with gaps in the historical record leads him to the forgotten, classified regions of space.
Where he stumbles upon a physical impossibility.
Yeah, an ancient station drifting near a dead star.
When we look at the timeline in the source material, this station is roughly 15,000 years old. That predates the modern Galactic Council itself.
It's a relic from an era that most modern alien civilizations in this universe consider ancient myth. It's visibly scarred, battered by millennia of micrometeoroids, but it's clearly, undeniably of human design.
And when Zeran manages to breach the station's airlocks, he finds a single, intact, highly encrypted database.
The title of that database alone sets the tone for the entire revelation. It reads, Project Nightfall.
Gives you chills just hearing it.
It really does. As Zeran painstakingly decrypts these files, which consist of raw military reports, emergency broadcasts, unfiltered battle recordings, he uncovers the horrifying truth.
That everything the galaxy has been taught for 10 millennia is a manufactured fabrication.
Exactly. Humans weren't feared because they were aggressive conquerors or mindless destroyers. They were feared because they saved absolutely everyone, using methods the rest of the galaxy considered unthinkable.
So, to understand why a drastic measure like Project Nightfall was even necessary, we have to look at what they were saving the galaxy from.
The Void Swarm.
Right. The database introduces this existentially terrifying threat. These weren't rival political factions or like a standard alien invasion force looking for resources.
No, these were ancient biological entities emerging from the intergalactic darkness, the literal void between galaxies.
And the scale of the Void Swarm challenges our fundamental understanding of biology. The source material describes living creatures larger than moons.
Moons, think about that. Some were older than the stars they were consuming.
Yeah, when they entered a system, they didn't conquer planets. They ingested the foundational energies of the system itself. Entire defense fleets were wiped from existence without making a dent.
The Galactic Council, this massive, hyper-advanced alliance of species, threw everything they had at the swarm. Antimatter weaponry, singularity torpedoes, localized black holes,
And every conventional and unconventional weapon failed entirely.
every single one.
The files reveal why the swarm was so unbeatable, and it comes down to multidimensional physics. It wasn't just that they had thick armor or incredible regeneration.
It was how they fundamentally existed.
Right. Human researchers studying captured organic material realized these creatures communicated and anchored their consciousness through dimensions beyond normal 3D space.
Which is a brilliant sci-fi concept.
I was trying to visualize this from the text, and it's like trying to fight a shadow by punching the wall. You can't hurt the shadow itself because it's just a projection. You have to attack the light source.
That is a perfect analogy. Destroying their physical bodies in our dimension was completely useless because their minds, their true essence, remained safely tucked away in a higher dimension.
So they could just regenerate or puppet new mass.
Exactly. That analogy highlights the exact friction point where conventional science failed. You are swinging at an effect, not the cause. To fight a higher dimensional entity, you need to project force into that higher dimension.
But the rest of the highly advanced galaxy looked at this multidimensional biology, ran the simulations, and concluded that survival was mathematically impossible.
They viewed the barrier between dimensions as an immutable law of nature. You just cannot shoot a laser into a dimension you cannot access.
So they gave up.
Yeah, the council societies resigned themselves to death. They started building memory vaults and preparing for the end of their civilizations.
But humanity looked at that exact same impossible problem, looked at the immutable laws of nature, and basically said, well, the laws of nature are about to change.
That's the human spirit for you.
If the enemy exists beyond reality, then the only solution is to attack reality itself. The source text has this brilliant throwaway line in a military log where it notes that every leading scientist in the galaxy called the idea of weaponizing the dimensional barrier impossible. But, quote, humanity called it Tuesday.
I love that line. It encapsulates the human refusal to accept a no-win scenario.
So they pivot to the sheer logistical insanity of Project Nightfall.
And this wasn't a Manhattan Project hidden in a single desert bunker. Humanity converted entire solar systems into research facilities.
Entire solar system?
Yeah, they dismantled lifeless planets just to build the particle accelerators required. Millions of scientists worked for 80 years across multiple generations.
Their sole objective being to engineer a localized rupture in space-time, a weapon capable of reaching into that higher dimension.
Right.
But I have to pause and look at the sheer madness of this plan because the text makes it clear that the physics involved were dangerously unstable.
Highly unstable.
The human scientists knew that if this weapon misfired, or if their calculations regarding the fabric of space-time were even slightly off, reality itself could collapse.
We're talking about a chain reaction that could cause stars to spontaneously go supernova.
Or whole sectors of the galaxy to just vanish into the void. Wait, so to stop the galaxy from being eaten by the swarm, humanity was essentially threatening to detonate the foundation of the house just to get rid of a termite infestation?
I mean, yes, but you have to understand the grim calculus human leadership was operating on.
Okay, lay it out for me.
From their perspective, extinction by the void swarm was a 100% certainty. The house was already coming down. The Galactic Council was just waiting to be eaten.
So they figured they had nothing to lose.
Exactly. Therefore, risking a cascading dimensional collapse was no longer a reckless gamble. It was the only alternative to guaranteed universal death. A 99% chance of destroying reality is still a 1% better survival rate than zero.
That is the ultimate Hail Mary pass.
It really is. After 80 years of bleeding their own economy dry to build this thing, it culminates in a massive final stand. Human fleets intentionally act as bait.
They broadcast massive energy signatures to lure the vast majority of the void swarm into deep, empty space, drawing them away from the populated worlds of the Galactic Council.
And every surviving civilization in the galaxy is monitoring this through deep space telemetry.
The moment of activation is described in the files with terrifying clarity. When the Nightfall device is triggered, there is no massive explosion of fire.
At first, there is just absolute silence and a localized distortion of starlight.
Then the underlying fabric of space physically fractures. The sensors record it looking like a windshield shattering.
A massive, invisible dimensional wave propagates outward, violently forcing its way into that higher dimensional plane.
And the impact on the swarm is immediate. The files note that for the first time in millions of years, these ancient, moon-sized entities experienced something they had never felt before: fear.
Their higher dimensional anchors were severed. In our dimension, their physical bodies just dissolved into inert dust.
The entire swarm vanished, the galaxy was saved.
And a standard narrative would end there with celebrations and monuments. But the source text takes a much darker, more realistic turn.
Because you cannot forcefully shatter the foundational barrier of reality and expect it to heal on its own.
No, you really can't. The weapon achieved its primary objective, but the dimensional wave it created didn't dissipate. It continued to spread outward at faster than light speeds, destabilizing the physical constants of space in its wake.
Human scientists ran the telemetry after the battle and realized the horrifying truth. The wave was going to cause a complete, irreversible collapse of the universe's physics within 500 years.
They saved the town from the fire, but they permanently poisoned the water supply in the process.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting, is humanity's reaction to this mistake. They don't go to the Galactic Council and demand gratitude for the rescue. They don't ask for help cleaning up the mess.
Not at all.
They just quietly classify the data, roll up their sleeves, and launch Operation Horizon.
And Operation Horizon represents a technological endeavor that dwarfs even the Nightfall weapon.
Which is saying something.
Right. For a full century, while the rest of the galaxy was celebrating their survival and enjoying a golden age of rebuilding, humanity went into absolute isolation. They began constructing stabilization networks across the destabilized sectors of the galaxy.
The text describes these networks using terms like artificial stars and quantum anchors.
Yes.
To understand what a quantum anchor actually does in this context, imagine reality as a massive, tightly woven sheet of silk. Nightfall tore a hole in that silk, and the tear is widening.
Okay, I follow you.
A quantum anchor is essentially a microscopic, hyperdense gravity well. Humanity was dropping these immovable weights onto the edges of the tear, physically pinning the threads of reality back together so it couldn't unravel any further.
And these machines were larger than planets.
It's just mind-boggling scale.
The energy and resources required to build and maintain these anchors were catastrophic. Activating this stabilization network saved the galaxy for a second time, halting the dimensional collapse. But the cost of this effort effectively consumed human civilization.
Thousands of thriving human colony worlds had to be stripped of resources and abandoned. Millions of human engineers and pilots died maintaining the anchors in highly unstable space.
Entire fleets vanished into the dimensional rifts forever.
They intentionally cannibalized their own empire to fix the universe. And through all of this, the 80 years to build the weapon, the century of slow, agonizing sacrifice to build the anchors, they never once asked for recognition.
They took the burden of their colossal mistake, fixed it at the cost of their future, and just retreated to a fraction of their former territory.
This historical truth makes the central premise of the amnesia so jarring.
It really does. If humanity sacrificed everything, if they physically broke their own civilization to save the galaxy twice, how did they end up labeled as monsters?
How do you go from the saviors of all existence to the boogeymen of the cosmos?
That brings us to the ultimate betrayal by the Galactic Council, detailed in the final files, Zurin decrypts. It's a fascinating look at the sociology of power.
The leaders of the Galactic Council weren't stupid. They eventually noticed humanity's isolation and ran their own deep space scans.
Right. They discovered the truth about the Nightfall rupture and the Horizon Stabilization Network. They learned that humanity possessed the technology and the audacity to alter reality itself.
And their reaction was driven by pure, cold paranoia.
Absolutely. They realized they were dealing with a species capable of operating on a technological and psychological level that they just could not comprehend.
Their logic was simple. A species capable of shattering reality to save the galaxy is also inherently capable of destroying it whenever they choose.
If humans could crack space like glass, what was stopping them from doing it again? Perhaps intentionally targeting the Council next time.
Think about this for a second. Instead of building statues to their saviors, the powers that be buried the records out of pure paranoia. Is this a classic case of the establishment fearing what they simply cannot control?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it absolutely is. The Council's legitimacy was built on being the ultimate protectors of the galaxy, yet they had been completely helpless against the swarm.
Humanity's existence was a constant, terrifying reminder of the Council's impotence.
Exactly. Instead of feeling gratitude, they felt a profound sense of existential vulnerability. And to manage that vulnerability, they controlled the narrative. It is the fear of asymmetrical power applied on a galactic scale.
They didn't declare war on humanity, though.
No, they knew they might lose. Instead, they launched a systemic, centuries-long campaign of historical revisionism. They classified the archives. They destroyed the physical evidence of the swarm.
Over generations, textbooks were rewritten.
The memory of the heroes was deliberately warped until humanity was reduced to a terrifying, vague legend. They engineered a society that instinctively feared humanity, ensuring that humanity would remain isolated and that no one would ever seek them out.
It's a chilling reminder of how easily history can be rewritten when the people in charge are afraid. But truth, especially a 15,000-year-old encrypted truth, has a way of surfacing.
It always does.
Professor Zarin doesn't just read these files, publish a quiet academic paper, and put them back in the vault.
No, he recognizes the sheer injustice of it all. He takes this massive database, connects to the galactic communication relays, and leaks the entire thing, every single file.
The societal fallout is instantaneous and violent. The source text describes the entire galaxy being thrown into chaos within hours.
You have to imagine billions of beings across thousands of worlds suddenly waking up to raw, unfiltered battle footage on their screens.
They're watching human fleets making impossible, suicidal sacrifices to draw the swarm away. They're seeing footage of their own ancestors being evacuated by human rescue ships.
And they are watching humanity stand completely alone, taking the brunt of an extinction-level threat while the mighty Galactic Council cowers in bunkers.
The paradigm shift just shatters the Council's authority. The galactic public realizes their entire worldview, their entire recorded history, is a manufactured lie designed to protect the egos of their politicians.
Governments are paralyzed. Citizens are demanding to know why they were taught to hate the very people who broke themselves to ensure the galaxy survived.
The pressure forces a grand confrontation. A massive diplomatic delegation is formed to travel to Earth, the human homeworld, to formally address the revelation.
And the tension in this scene is palpable. The alien diplomats are sweating bullets. They're approaching a species they've slandered for 10 millennia.
They are expecting a heavily armed human fleet demanding reparations, or a furious society demanding revenge.
But the reality they find on Earth is completely disarming. The human homeworld isn't a sprawling, aggressive military empire. It is a quiet, diminished, but unbroken society.
The modern Earth representative meets the tense, hyper-anxious alien delegation, listens to their panicked apologies and explanations, and simply smiles calmly.
His response consists of 2 words: we know.
Just, we know. The delegation is stunned. They ask the obvious question. If you knew the Council is lying, why didn't you reveal the truth? Why did you let us treat you like monsters, blockading your systems and teaching our children to fear you for 10 millennia?
The human ambassador's response completely recontextualizes humanity's role in the galaxy. He looks out toward the stars and says, "Because we didn't save the galaxy for credit."
Wow. It's a stunning philosophical stance. They didn't need the galaxy's validation. They knew what they did, and the survival of the universe was reward enough.
But this leaves one final, crucial thread hanging. Professor Zarin, who accompanied the delegation, steps forward.
Right, because he still has a question.
He asks the ultimate question that has been bothering him since he found the station. If it wasn't just the Nightfall weapon, and it wasn't a fear of conquest, why were humans truly feared by the ancient council architects who started the lie?
The ambassador provides an answer that serves as the thematic core of the entire narrative. He tells Zarin, because when humanity decides something must be protected, nothing in the universe can stop us.
It's such a powerful line.
So what does this all mean? The ancient species weren't just afraid of human weapons or fleets or tech. They were terrified of human determination.
When faced with an impossible problem, an absolute dead end that mathematically defeated everyone else in the galaxy, humans didn't mourn. They didn't surrender.
They looked at the immutable laws of physics, decided those laws were temporarily unacceptable, and shattered reality to fix the problem.
To an alien civilization that values logic, mathematical probability, and orderly acceptance of natural laws, a species that refuses to accept the inevitable, even if it means breaking the universe to do it, is profoundly unsettling.
It represents an unstoppable force of sheer willpower that cannot be reasoned with or controlled.
It brings us to the epilogue of this incredible story, which perfectly wraps up this massive shift in galactic understanding. A year after the truth is leaked, the Galactic Council doesn't fall, but it fundamentally transforms.
A monument is erected in the center of the galactic capital.
Crucially, it's not a statue of a human soldier. It doesn't commemorate a specific battle or feature a replica of the Nightfall device.
It is a stark, simple monument featuring a single inscription pulled directly from Zaren's translated archives.
It reads, quote, "Humanity is not feared because it destroys worlds. Humanity is feared because it refuses to let them die."
It completely flips the script on the opening hook of our discussion. The ancient galaxy was actually right to teach their children that humans were a terrifying force of nature, but they were entirely wrong about why.
They aren't monsters of destruction. They are monsters of preservation.
It redefines fear from something based on malice and violence to something based on boundless, uncompromising resolve.
A beautiful way to put it.
As we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We don't face interdimensional swarms in our daily lives, but we do face seemingly insurmountable barriers.
We all have our impossible problems.
Exactly. So next time you encounter an impossible problem in your own life or work, ask yourself, are you relying only on the tools you've been given, accepting the boundary as everyone else has accepted? Or are you willing to completely redefine the rules of your own reality to protect what matters to you?
Because, as the archives of Project Nightfall show, that kind of relentless determination.
That's the kind of legacy that lasts 15,000 years. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the monsters of your own history, and we'll catch you on the next one.